You show me any book that has had the preservation of the Quran. If I ask Qari Umar right now, how many makharij al-huruf? He'll tell me. 17. If I ask him, what are the sifat of seen? What are the qualities of the letter seen? He can tell me. If I say, where's the makhrij of ayn? He point exactly where it is. And he can show you exactly how to make it. If I ask him, how is this pronounced? He can tell you this is idgham. This science, which is the science of phonetics, was not introduced in the West until the 19th century. There's no phonetics of English. They don't know how it was pronounced. The Jews do not know how the Torah was pronounced at the time of Musa. They debate on the sounds of letters. And they think that some letters have new sounds. And some disappeared. They actually believe that there used to be an ayn in Hebrew. There's no longer an ayn. If you ask any Christian, how did Jesus recite the Injil? How did he recite it? Even if we grant that it was recited in Greek. I mean, most of the scholars say he probably spoke Aramaic and he knew Hebrew. But even if we say it's Greek, like it exists now, fine. How was the Greek recited? I took New Testament Greek in college. I had it in high school and college. My New Testament Greek teacher told me, we don't know how New Testament Greek sounded 2,000 years ago. We have some idea, but we just don't know because phonetics wasn't invented. They didn't know about sibilants. Right? They didn't know about nasal sounds. You look, where did we get all of this? Idgham, idhar. Where did we get it? Early on, from the ulama, right from the very start. Why? Because Allah preserved the Quran. Where did we get the nahu? Why do I know if I recite the Quran, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. How do I know it's ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ? How do I know kitabu is marfu'? How do I know what ذَلِكَ means? Ism ishara, للتعظيم. How do I know لا ريب, لا نفي للجنس, ريب منصوب? How do I know it's mansub? هدى للمتقين. How do I know what hudan is? لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين or لا ريب فيه? Does it stop there? Does it start there? هدى للمتقين. What is that? Mubtada, khabar, is it khabar? How do we know all that? Because our ulama developed a science right from the very start. Imam Ali radiallahu anhu said to Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali, when he came, his daughter had said, Ma ahsana as-sama'i. She said, what's the best of the heavens? He said, an-nujum, the stars. She said, Ma aradtu dharika, innama aradtu ta'ajjub. I didn't mean that. I meant to say how marvelous it is. And he said, Idhan quli ma ahsana as-sama'a. Because it should be mansub, not majroor. He didn't know those words. So he went to Sayyidina Ali and he said, Waylana awladuna yalhanun. We're in trouble. Our children are beginning to speak bad Arabic. Why? Because their mothers were Persian. Like now if you go to Saudi Arabia and you get in a taxi, he says, Ish tibi, ma fi ma'loom, kilo ithnain. He's speaking broken Arabic. Why? Because the Arabs, when they speak to him, that's how they talk to him. They go down, they reduce the language down. Instead of elevating him up, they take it down. That's what happens. You get pidgin languages. So that started happening. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, Al-Arabiyyatu ismun wa fi'lun wa harfun fadawwinu wanhu hadha nahu. Start here. It's three things. Ism, fi'l, harf. Start to write it down. And then he gave him lessons. So Sayyidina Ali actually is considered wadi' an-nahu. He started the process, and then you got the great imams. Why? Tahfidh al-Quran. So nothing of the meanings of Quran are lost. Nothing. When Ibn Abbas was asked what kanud meant, he said he didn't know. And then he saw a Bedouin woman hitting her camel saying, Innaki la kanud. You're a stubborn camel. And he knew it. When he wanted to know what fatir meant, because the Quraysh didn't use that word, Fatiru samawati wal ard. He heard two Bedouin came with an argument about a bi'r, whose bi'r it was. And one of them said to the other, Ana fatartuhu qablahu. I made it before him. And Ibn Abbas took that. Fatir is the one who starts something, originates it. And this is how the language was preserved. That's all tahfidh. No book has that, I guarantee you. You know the first English dictionary? 17th century, and it's a bad dictionary. We don't know what Shakespeare meant. That's only the 16th century. Some of the words in Shakespeare, they debate the meanings. Why? Because there's no dictionary. When's the first dictionary in the Arabic world? It starts with Al-Khalil, right from the beginning, Al-Ain. Who inspired him to do that? The Jews didn't start their dictionaries until the 8th century because they saw the Muslims were doing it and they realized, we should have done this centuries ago. And that's why in Jewish studies now, they use Arabic dictionaries to determine what the Torah means. And I'm not exaggerating that. That one verse alone, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا ذِكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. If you understood the true meaning of that verse and what we have, this book we have, that's in the breasts of our huffaz, and how they guard it and preserve it, may Allah reward them. If you understood what has been done to preserve this book, you would know that that ayah alone is enough to know that this revelation is true. And I'm not exaggerating. Wallahi.
You know, we sent down this reminder and we have taken upon ourselves to guard it, to protect it. If that verse alone doesn't convince somebody of the proof of Islam, nothing will, because it is so clearly providential, the protection that the Quran has been given. No other religion has the protection of their sacred book that we have. The Jews debate upon the different versions of the Torah. The Christians debate upon the different versions of the Gospels. They have different endings to their Gospels in the different religious sects. The Buddhists have untold number of scripture. The Hindus also. All of these groups do not have unified scriptural integrity. The Muslims alone, Shia, Sunni, Ibadi, Sufi, Salafi, it doesn't matter what group you're from, everybody reads the same Quran with the same tashkil, the same harakat. There's almost no debate about makharij al-huruf, how the actual, which is the protection of the phonetics of the Quran is another miracle of the Quran. I studied New Testament Greek, and one of the things the teacher told us was that we don't know how the Greek sounded at that time because it just wasn't preserved. So even the reading, the recitation of the New Testament in Koine Greek, it's not real classical Greek. The Attic Greek, which is the Greek of Homeric Greek, is a higher Greek, and then the Platonic Greek. But the Koine Greek, which is the Greek of the New Testament, they don't even know how that was pronounced, some of the words and things. So the Quran is amazing. Phonetics, you don't get phonetics until the 18th century in Europe, where they start studying makharij al-huruf. Al-huruf came in the 18th, 19th century when the Europeans really discovered that. So even the Qa'idah, which is the book that most Ajam learn how to read the Quran from, the Qa'idah was developed by Muslims over 1,000 years ago, and now if you look in the 19th century, that's how they taught phonetic English, is the basic same thing. And you have to wonder where they got that, because they didn't have it 100 years ago, 200, 300 years ago. So the preservation of the Quran is just amazing. The 7 variants are amazing, that each variant has been preserved with the accuracy that it's been preserved. And the Hafidh, if he's a real Hafidh or she is a real Hafidh, the preservation that they can hear immediately when something is not right and correct it is stunning testimony to the preservation of the book. So it's a nice thing to be able to see that, to see how they've done that, and why the Quran is printed flawlessly, edition after edition, without mistakes in it, is just something really stunning about the religion. So, alhamdulillah.
Bye.